kuroneka kuma na Goons Invade raisi neta inyanya cio tuko na neba bena Goons cia tobaragania hapa ni saninya inyanya na moranjire no ya na jesirita na emo ya thagana na tondu riu ne mona ni twibangite tiumanisa ni cigana.
Ladies and gentlemen, the video that we have begun with is a clip showcasing the residents of Kagio market. These people have decided to form their own group that will fight for their businesses. And they are telling us that a group of goons was brought yesterday evening by 8 Nissans. 8 matatus carried a group of goons and dropped them at Kagio market. Now, there is a very famous flag going on right now on social media where Kenyans from all walks of life are saying we are all Kikuyus. And the reason for these sentiments is because yesterday in the evening, something very unexpected happened. After the Saba demonstration on Monday, Kenyans were all clear that, you know what, maandamano imeisha and it's about time we get back to our works. It's about time we start working and building this nation because, you know, businesses were looted, the economy is not doing well, and people were ready to get back to their businesses yesterday. Now, on Tuesday evening, a very strategic and orchestrated plan was deployed. People carried by matatus, or let me say by lorries, were dropped in different locations around the Mount Kenya region to disrupt peace. In RUIRU, yesterday by 6 in the evening, goons carrying weapons, machetes, clubs, they invaded the town of RUIRU and they started looting people's businesses. Apart from RUIRU, as this incident was happening in RUIRU, another incident was going on in Kiambu town, where goons also started taking over Kiambu town. Apart from Kiambu town, RUIRU bypass, there were goons that were deployed. Around Juja, same thing happened. Thika town, same thing happened. Keno, same thing happened. Now, where are these goons coming from? And why are they invading Mount Kenya only? The Saba Day demonstrations were meant to take place in every part of this country. But remember, Nairobi was barricaded and police denied people access to Nairobi, which forced what? Demonstrators to go back to their places. Now, in different places around Nairobi and around Kiambu town, Nyeri, Meru, things have happened. And let me dare say this. The people that looted people's businesses in RUIRU, Kiambu town, Nyeri, Murang'a, Meru, Embu, these were not demonstrators. These were not Kikuyus, no Amerians from those regions that were doing what? That were looting those businesses. Let me tell you what is happening. There's a very strategic plan that has been put in place. Destabilize the Mount Kenya region, scare the Mount Kenya region to a point that they will never again speak against the regime of President William Ruto. Make sure that the people of the Mount Kenya region are destabilized in terms of businesses, in terms of work, and in terms of capital generation. So these people, if they can't make money, and if they have no money, then they will do what? They will actually fall into place and start following the regime of President William Ruto without dissecting voices that we have heard in the past few days. So the best way to do that, MPs, members of parliament, affiliated to the Kenya Kwanza administration, more so those coming from the Mount Kenya region, were given a task. And the task was to organize goons and deploy them in every different part of Mount Kenya to cause havoc so that they can build a good rapport or a good story and a case file that will do what? That will lead to the arrest of the opposition leaders led by Rigathi Gachagua. Are we together? Yesterday, the reason why people had to close their businesses is because they did not expect that after Sabasaba demonstration, that now there were people that were plotting against them. So they weren't prepared. And I tell you, Kenya is turning into a little Haiti. The gangs and the militias that are currently being deployed in every different part of this country, their aim is to destabilize the Mount Kenya region. And one thing that you should remember, Mount Kenya is the economic backbone of the Republic of Kenya. And if once this economic backbone is disrupted, then this country will lack its stability when it comes to development and when it comes to revenue generation. Because look at it, on Monday, all businesses around the country were shut down. Mostly Nairobi was a no-go zone, so no businesses were conducted within Nairobi County. The outskirts of Nairobi, it was chaotic. Demonstrators and goons invaded those towns and in the outskirts of Nairobi. Deaths were happening in every different part. So people shut down their businesses, which means what? That there were no businesses that were going on. That means on Monday, about 3/4 of the country did not go on to conduct its businesses as usual. And that is a very big economic sabotage. Once revenue is not generated in the Republic of Kenya, it shows clearly the path that this country is trending on. It shows that in no time, this country will be unstable. Are we together? Now, the rise of militias. Who are the people behind these militias? I will remind you that before the Sabasaba demos, Rigathi Gachagua pointed out a few elements of those that were planning goons to disrupt people's businesses on the Sabasaba day. During the burial of his sister in Nyeri County, Gachagua revealed that the Member of Parliament of Madeira, Eric Wamombi, who is a very great ally to President William Ruto, was had a meeting with goons in Sagana, where even police were. Are we together? Now, in that meeting, all that was happening is that they were planning on how to disrupt the economy and make sure that everybody in the Mount Kenya region feels that they feel the anger and the disappointment. Tuko pamoja. Siasa za Kenya zinaendelea kuchukua mkondo mbao. If this is the path that this country will trend on, because let me tell you, why didn't they invade any other towns? Why didn't they go to invade any other places that businesses are conducted? Why didn't they go to Machakos? Why didn't they go to places like Narok, Kajiado? Why did they go to Asiligishu? But these goons were strategically placed in the towns that Kikuyus conduct their businesses in. Hawa watu waliwekwa katika mitaa ambayo Wakikuyu wanafanya biashara, mitaa ambayo Wakikuyu wanaishi, kwa ajili gani? Kwa ajili ya kuweza kusambaratisha sauti ya Mkikuyu, kuzima sauti ya Mkikuyu. And now let me tell you, this is where Ruto does not know the card that he's playing. Because these people who are businessmen, once you corner them, they will also retaliate. And their retaliation will be also forming groups that will defend their businesses. And if they go that route of them also hiring people to defend their businesses, how will we say that Mungiki has not been revived? Tutasemaje Mungiki haijafufuliwa? Do you remember what Mungiki used to do? And let me tell you, don't force, people say that demos are followers or whatever. But let me tell you, there are people that if you have seen what they have done in the past, please don't you dare trigger them to a point that they will have to retaliate in a certain level. Because Kikuyus worship their businesses. Kikuyus do worship their businesses. If you disrespect where their capital comes from, where they generate their revenue from, that is where now you have forced their hand to come up with strategies that you won't like. Mtazamaji, wewe maoni yako haswa kulingana na mambo ambayo yaliweza kuendelea hapo jana ni yapi? Achia maoni kwenye comment section, tuungane katika video zetu zijazo.